So NVIDIA on their official GeForce X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, they sort of confirmed that we're going to get an announcement, if you will, of new GPUs. These are going to be the super GPUs that we've been waiting. And obviously, that's going to be the easy thing to discuss. January 8th, right in the morning, that's when they're going to supposedly announce these GPUs. And you can even tell from their picture, that's the same little thing that the Founders Edition typically has on their lighting. The problem here is, should you buy a GPU or wait to buy a GPU? I think you may actually want to wait, and it's not because these are going to be great deals. Now, I'm going to tell you exactly why people are mad. I did a video with the potential pricing of these super GPUs. Nobody's happy at all. First of all, supposedly these are going to be more expensive than the current GPUs that are out now. Like, for example, if a 4080 is $1199, there's a chance that a 4080 Super may be something like $1,300 or $1,400. Nobody wanted to buy a 4080 at $1199, and nobody's going to want to buy a 4080 Super at a much higher price. So that remains to be a big issue. Do you know what people want? They want a $999 4080 Super. The 4080 can just go away if they have a $999 4080 Super. And now let's hear a word from our sponsor, VIP-CDKdeals.com, a Windows 10 Pro CD key. Add to cart, you put in code CC20. This will also work on Windows 11. You want to go into your settings in Windows, change and adjust your CD key, click activate, and now let's go back to the video. Now, there's not that big of a difference between the 4080 and the 4080 Super. You're still going to be getting the same 16 gigabytes of VRAM. It is going to be a little bit faster, but it's not really going to have all that big of an impact. You may be talking about just a few percentage points better in gaming and things like that with the 4080 Super. So why would people get excited about that if it's going to be more expensive? The only possible thing that can make people like that GPU in particular is going to be lower pricing. You can argue that you may see 4080s on the secondhand market for cheaper, but that's something else entirely. That's not really up to NVIDIA. I mean, not directly anyway. Whatever they release will drop the price of existing GPUs just because there's new stuff out. But a 4080 Super, I think the most it could possibly be is $1199 for people to kind of accept it and some people to buy it. Anything more is just pretty much going to be really terrible. And remember, it's already like a pretty difficult GPU market in terms of people wanting to actually buy stuff. Now, $999 is probably unrealistic. I don't think NVIDIA would drop the price. They don't need to sell them that bad, but I really don't want to see them anywhere above that number anyway. Now, what about the GPUs that people start to care maybe more about? What about the middle one, 4070 Ti Super? Now, 16 gigabytes of VRAM, that's a sizable upgrade from the existing 4070 Ti, which, by the way, people also didn't like at $799. Are they really going to price a 4070 Ti Super much higher than that? Is it going to be like $1,000 or $1,100 GPU? At that point, you might as well just go for a 4080, because basically they're going to be almost about the same, with the 4080 likely being faster of the previous version. So 4070 Ti Super, I mean, like in my last video, I said that I think most of these Supers will likely get at least $100 more MSRP than the existing versions they're sort of replacing. But who knows, NVIDIA could go even higher. If they did a $799 4070 Ti Super with 16 gigabytes of VRAM, now maybe that one wouldn't be terrible, because then you're basically getting kind of like a 4080 Lite for $800. I could see that actually working. Like, even though obviously we always want cheaper, we want to say, oh, $699 this GPU should be, at least with 16 gigabytes of VRAM for $800 and pretty good performance close to a 4080, I could kind of see that one fly a little bit. The last GPU is going to be the one that's going to be probably the biggest shaker in the entire lineup. That's going to be the 4070 Super. This one is still going to get 12 gigabytes of VRAM, so it's going to be the same as the 4070, but it's going to get a lot more CUDA cores, so supposedly the performance might be a sizable chunk better than the 4070. Once again, gamers like performance, but they like good pricing, sometimes even more. If this GPU comes out at like $699 or even $799. What if they priced it as much as a 4070 Ti, which would be ridiculous? Then obviously gamers are going to be very, very mad. Now, if they replace the 4070 at $599, I think people can stand behind a very performant GPU that, the 4070 is already not that bad at $599. It's one of the better RTX 40 series for the price. If they have something that's even better in the 4070 Super, $599, 12 gigabytes of VRAM, getting a little long in the tooth, but at least it's better than having 8, like on some GPUs, like the 4060 Ti. So $599, a 4070 Super, I think people would be okay with that, because if the performance really is a lot better, let's say if it's close to the existing 4070 Ti, then you're basically getting a 4070 Ti for $100 or $200 cheaper. So that's going to be an interesting one to look at. Now, there's nothing really revolutionary going on here. These are mostly high-end GPUs being refreshed, and aside from a little bit more VRAM on the 4070 Ti Super, we're not probably going to see anything too drastic. Now, pricing is going to be very, very interesting. The existing stockpile of GPUs have pretty much been a little bit stagnant, with prices not really going down. They've been on the shelves because gamers don't really want to buy them. They're pretty bad price to performance in general. And even the 4090, which is going to be way above all these other GPUs, has consistently gone up in price, and it's been sold out because of all the AI action that's going around in the world. So we're going to see how this shakes up the market. What is it going to do to existing RTX 40 series? There's definitely a lot of them out there, but we're going to see what happens and if AMD eventually is going to have a response. We've been seeing a few random sales. Like I saw the 7900 XTX temporarily drop for $799. Now, that's a interesting price. Imagine a 7900 XTX against a 4070 Ti Super. That's if they're the same price, I probably would take the AMD, which sometimes is as fast as a 4090 in some games, and you may be giving up the LSS3 and ray tracing, but if you're going to get 24 gigabytes of VRAM and much faster rasterization for $799, that's not that bad. So AMD could really do some damage here by lowering pricing and being very, very competitive with NVIDIA's, much more expensive GPUs. But we're going to see what happens. Only a few days away, and we're expecting these to probably have a staggered release during the month of January. So while the announcement will be early next week on Monday, you can expect them to come out probably a week after, then another one 2 weeks after. By the end of the month, we should see all three models hit retailers and store shelves. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the price is on these. We know the performance will be hit or miss on some of them, but the pricing, that's going to be what solidifies and dictates the future of NVIDIA's gaming products going forward. Are they going to stay, hard and strong on the higher pricing that they've been trending towards recently, since they have AI to jump on? They don't have to worry about selling too many GPUs. Or are they going to throw gamers a bone, specifically because they're making so much money with AI GPUs, give gamers a little bit better value on their gaming GPUs? They're demanding it. Gamers demand better value and performance, or else eventually AMD could or else you'll have companies like AMD and Intel consistently, sort of taking away some of that market share, even though it really hasn't happened yet. All right, guys, let me know what you think. Remember to subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video.